We're rolling.
This is an interview at the New York State Military Museum, Saratoga Springs, New York, 14th of May, 2004, approximately 3:30 p.m. Interviewers are Wayne Clark and Mike Russert. Could you give me your full name, date of birth, and place of birth, please?
Ellsworth Joseph Jones. Date of birth?
Yes, sir.
January 6th, 1918, I believe, isn't it? 1918. Hey, I remember that, all right.
Okay, and where were you born?
In Albany, New York.
Okay. What was your education prior to entering military service?
I attended St. Mary's Academy in Glens Falls, New York. I graduated from there in 1946, I believe. Oregon, but
36.
1936, I guess, yeah. I didn't continue any other education, and let's see, when did I enlist now?
You said 1940. Did you join a guard unit?
Yeah, and yeah, I was in 1940. I had the distinction of being the first one. I was living in Carantan at the time, and I brought down quite a few fellows came down with me after that. It was Company L, 105th.
So you were here in this armory in Saratoga?
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah.
What was the armory like when you were here?
It hasn't changed much. The faces have changed a little, and possibly downstairs, but not much. It's been kept up, I think, and they've done well with it. And we were novices, of course. We jumped when they said jump. We did, but it was a great experience, and made a lot of friends, people that I hadn't known before, and we did well.
Now, where did you go for your training?
Well,
Guard unit.
I don't know how familiar you are, but we lit up the station. Used to be up where the Grand Union is now, you know? And the train ran in there, and the girl got killed. Do you remember any of this?
No, I did.
Oh,
before my time.
Anyway, they pulled the train down the log, and it was a disaster, really.
So there, a young girl was
One girl got
killed by the train that came in for the troops. Was it?
Yes, yeah, that would be my synopsis of what happened. Yeah.
Now, when was this?
Where?
When?
1940.
1940. Okay.
Yeah.
That was the day you were all assembled and
We were all assembled. The Company K from Glens Falls, and the Whitehall they stopped at first, I believe, and picked up the unit there, and I don't know what number. And then Company K was in Glens Falls, and Company L was here. And the train came on down, and you probably don't remember, but it came around a little bend there where the station was, and that girl somehow got out on the track. We didn't see any of it. We knew there was a lot of commotion and so on, and they hustled us into the train.
There were a number of other Saratogans who went away with you, Choke Armstrong and people.
Oh man, yeah, it was, I would say, better than 50%, yeah.
Sure.
The Armstrongs, and we all met down here, and then we slept down here and stayed right here for a few days, and then they put us on the train, and we went down Fort McClellan, Alabama.
Okay, so you were in the maneuvers and so on down in...
I sure was.
This was with the 27th Division.
27th, Company L, 27th Infantry Division, yeah.
How long were you there for maneuvers?
Well, I was there until I was accepted as a candidate, or accepted as a for officers candidate school, and I think there were 3 of us that were accepted under that. And we got a tremendous send-off, thousands of people literally, and we went down to the old what they call, not this, down next to Jewish Community Center. While we were trying to see the armory next to cross, or there, they gave us a big party and a couple $1,000, and had a real good time. Of course, a tragic accident after that. We didn't know it. They didn't advise us that the accident was that. So they took us down, put us on a siding, and then somebody got in.
Where did you train at Officers Candidate School?
Fort Benning, Georgia.
Fort Benning, Georgia?
Yeah.
Where were you when you heard about Pearl Harbor?
Where was I? I was in the service, I think. No.
Well, yes, I assume that, do you remember, were you an officer
What?
candidate school at that
No,
time?
no. I was
You were
a sergeant in Company L. The local National Guard company was federalized, and we all went down to Alabama.
Okay, so you probably were at Fort McClellan?
Yeah.
Do you remember how you heard about it and your reaction?
Yeah, I remember, yes. There was panic for a little while. Everybody was running everywhere, but nobody knew what was happening. They just said, get back. The people were in Anniston, Alabama, and here, there, get back off leave and so on. And at first, it looked like there was just a lot of excitement. Nobody really knew which way to go. But that soon ended because they got the officers back and the comm and said, this is it, fellas. You know, they're not fooling now. And here's what's going to happen. We're going to get our orders and we're going to move out of here and we'll find about it and you'll know about it soon enough. So just keep cool. And unfortunately, before we got on the train came the other way, and a little girl got killed.
Okay, now you went to Fort Benning for officer candidate
training, yes,
school.
yeah.
How long were you there?
How long? Well, they used to call us 90-day wonders, but I don't know if it was any wonder, but I was there 90 days. And while there, I met a gentleman who later got killed in the service, but he wanted to go to join paratroopers. He was all set for it. He, I guess, had made some jumps out of private planes or something up in the air, and he prevailed on me. He said, come on, let's go over and see what's going on. I said, you know, I'm crazy enough, but I don't know. But anyway, you got special pay. We got $100 a month, and we wore special hats and uniforms and so on. And we were a class by ourselves. We were the best trained troops in the world, bar none. Now, it wasn't at our behest. It was the people that they had training us. And you got in shape, and you obeyed the rules, and so on. And it turned out to be I was assigned to the 101st Airborne Screaming Eagle Division.
What did you need to show in order to get into the paratrooper school?
You had to go through tests, a series of tests that we went through. Endurance, practically, mostly. You know, run till you fall down almost. Run up and down those stairs till we thought we were wearing them out or whatever. And we had good non-coms, no fooling around. You know, if it's too much, just walk out the door and go back to your unit, Company L, or whatever you're going to do. But we don't have time to just, you know, to baby you. So get in or get out. And that was a great attitude because we knew where we stood.
How many jumps did you make all total?
All total? Oh, that's a good question. Well, I had to make 5 to qualify, 5-day jumps, 2-night jumps, that's 7. I jumped, then became much later, I became an instructor. And that's a tough job. That is a tough job. You get a guy in the door and he balks. And I never believed in throwing a guy out the door. If he got killed or something, I would feel responsible. So I had the theory, let me talk, come on, sit down here. And I'd say to the crew chief, tell him to go around again, will you? Tell him to go around with this thing again. I said, look, if you don't want to be a paratrooper, that's no problem. But go out the door and quit down there, don't quit up here. Because if you quit up here, that's a mark on your, on your, all the forms and everything else. You're a quitter and so on, and combat, they won't trust you and so on. I'll go with you. Hang on to me, I'll go with you. But let's get out, get down there and say, I've had enough. Nothing will happen, they'll just, and we had 3 guys do that.
Where did you train for the 101st?
We trained at right at Fort McClellan, Alabama, where the parachute school was.
And were you an officer when you went in as a paratrooper? Or?
No. I went to OCS after. I guess I'm reflecting on that is. So.
And then leading up to D-Day, you were a second lieutenant.
I was a second, and I got promoted to first lieutenant before, and then.
What was your regimental assignment?
Regimentals? So I was a member of Company K here. Or Company
Well, no, in the 101st.
Oh, I was a platoon leader.
With what company? Or what regiment?
What regiment? Oh,
What para?
502.
502.
502, yeah.
Is it Company G?
No, Company, yeah. No.
Company F?
Yeah, well, I went around. I had the experience, and so they kind of loaned me to other ones and officers that just came in and so on. Try to get them oriented and make them feel at ease. And anybody that refused to jump, when you get somebody that refused to jump, I was a good psychiatrist, I guess. I'd say, come on, sit down, and I'd say, tell the pilot to go around a couple times. Look, you want to quit, I don't blame you, but quit down there, don't quit up here.
Did you convince anybody
You
to stay
bet
in
your
the
life I did. I said,
paratroopers?
I'll go with you. Hang on to me. Just hang on there, or I'll get somebody, one of the other officers, I'll get somebody to go first. And yeah, I never wanted to push anybody out. I'd feel if something happened, and it did happen, the guy get hurt real bad,
Sure.
you'd feel that it was your fault. So you, through persuasion, I was a salesman of a sort in my own business, and instead of threatening them with court-martial and all this and losing their stripes or whatever, just say, sit down, let's talk this over.
Now, when did you go to England?
Oh,
You trained for several months before D-Day in England and Scotland.
yeah, we trained British troops. I jumped with British troops. I never jumped, and we had an exchange idea to see what we had best in the parachute, and they had some good ideas. We had some good ideas.
Did you all jump with the same type of chute, or did they have a
No, they had
different
a different type chute. Yeah.
Now, did you ever use the British bag system where they had the bag that hung on the, you dropped the rope?
Yeah.
Did you like that, or?
Well, it was kind of a novelty. We didn't. Really, you're so indoctrinated that you knew that the chute was going to open. You packed it yourself. And if you ever tried to pack nylon, you know what it is. It's like greased eel. And but you had so much confidence in what was happening. You knew the pilot up there, and he was going to do everything he could. He was going to cut down the engine, cut it a little more if he had to, and if he missed if there was a fence or something he saw that we didn't know, he'd say, I'm going around again, Jones. He'd say, hang on. And you had a crew chief who's standing right there, and there was a red light and a green light right here. And if he didn't want you to go, the guy pushed the red light, say, stay back, get back, go sit down.
It was the platoon that you had, the same group of guys who were with you in the States as when you got over to England and Scotland?
We did up to a point, and then our experience now we're experienced paratroopers. We had made the 5-day jumps, the 2-night jumps, and we'd been on the maneuvers and so on. And so they used us as not the guinea pigs, and I was a salesman. I had a power of persuasion to a lot of the guys, and I would say, look, don't quit up here. You know.
Now, when you're getting ready for D-Day, what kind of specialized training did you have?
Oh boy, you name it. We had pictures, or we had sand tables, we had everything they could give us. I landed right exactly on where the sand table said I should.
Really?
Yeah, right there. I could recognize every tree and it was highly successful. We had casualties, no question. I lost some good men there. Everybody did. But I still have shrapnel in my diaphragm.
How big was your platoon?
30 men.
And
2 officers.
2 officers, yourself and another?
Yeah, another officer. I was a first lieutenant, I had a second lieutenant.
You were the platoon leader?
Yeah.
Okay. You had your own C-47 then? Your platoon flew in a C-47?
Well, you didn't have your own. I mean, They might put in some photographers or somebody. I don't know who they put in, I'd say.
But it carried just a platoon, right? The C-47?
Yeah, mostly, yeah. You could carry the 30.
Now, when you left for France,
Mhm.
do you recall your feelings, and were you able to look below and see the flotilla in the channel at all?
Oh yeah, it was an amazing sight, but they indoctrinated you like with a needle almost, and said you're the best troops in the world. There's nobody any better. Now, this is here's what's going to happen, and here's the way it's going to happen. I don't know the exact dates, and I don't know the exact assignments, but you have got to be the leaders in it. There's no question. You're going first.
Now, what kind of weapons did you carry going into the D-Day
A
zone?
folding carbine. Had a folding. It was about this big.
Yeah,
Have
right,
you seen on it the folding
Did
carbine?
you have a pistol as well?
I put that out because it was on here and we had other things. I had map cases and stuff, and you didn't want to get too heavy.
Grenades?
I had 2 grenades.
Now, did your men, getting back, did they use that British bag system? There was a bag where they put their weapons and so on. and
That was
dropped it.
arbitrary. I mean, that was arbitrary in the
I
sense
know that was something new at the time.
I didn't believe in it.
Okay, so your men didn't use those
I
bags?
suggested they don't.
Uh-huh.
The force of the impact when you're coming down just before you get 25 feet or so, you have some control. If you can pull that parachute down towards you, it's slowing you down because the air it's full of air, but you're pulling it down and it's trying to you can steer them a little bit and pull down one side and it'll steer you a little bit.
Whereabouts,
What?
whereabouts did you land? Was it St. Mary Glace?
I sure did. Yeah, I mean, it's St. Mary Glace. We could see the German trucks and soldiers going to their positions. We were down, and I finally said to the crew chief, "Give me that thing." I said, Kelly's now. I said, "Kelly, what the hell are you trying to do? Kill us all? You got us down here. I can step out here. Give me 250 feet at least, will you?" He said, "Jonesy, shut up and get back there. I'm running a plane. I'll give you all you want." So he did.
Now, how severe was the fire when your plane went in?
Well, it was mostly ground troops, and because we were up in front, fortunately. They did have some planes, they said.
So you were one of the early planes?
We were one of the early planes, yeah.
By any chance, did you know the fellow that landed in the church tower?
No, I didn't happen to know him. No, they were, of course, there were, but we had what I thought was the best indoctrination that was possible. We had sand tables and the little houses and the streets, and it was like, open your eyes, here we are. And
Now, when you went in, how long did it take your men to assemble? And was it
we didn't get all of them. Some of them landed too far, but it took us probably 8 minutes. That's all. And we had a cricket.
Yeah, I was going to
We had
ask
the
if you
cricket,
used the
say, and
cricket.
2, 3 answer.
As you hit the coast, Dad, in the plane, you were low at that point.
Yeah, they were,
You could. Did you know what you were looking at from your training on the sand tables and
It
so
was
forth?
it was like
You knew the roads,
You could see the German soldiers running to their position. You could see the.
and as you got ready to jump, what procedure did you use? What commands did you give to your soldiers and so forth?
Well, in the C-47s, there are seats on both sides, and then there is a cable that runs down, comes right back to the door, the exit door. And so these guys were all, you weren't teaching them too much. We'd been through it so many times. So there's 2 lights right down here by where I sat. There's a red one and a green. The red light go on, you're approaching, Now you got 3 minutes or 4 minutes, whatever you had decided. And the crew chief was there. So you'd get up and say, stand up and hook up. Everybody gets up and they hook up. Now, someplace way back in the history of it, somebody was nervous and didn't hook up and jumped out. So the command was then stand up and hook up and sound off for equipment check. Number 20, okay, 19, 17, 16, so on, get back. And I'd always say, give me that again, I didn't hear it. I wanted to make sure. And they'd come back and give it to you. And then you say, stand up, and now I can see. And it's just as plain as this thing is here to me now. I can see every farmhouse, I can see every road. I saw the river, what it wasn't much of a river that ran by there. And I've got it counted, and I've got a crew chief there. And I'm saying, then what's he saying up there? He said, that's so-and-so. Keep me posted. And you don't do it too quick. And when you get probably 5 minutes, 4 minutes you say, close up and stand in the door. Now the guys on the other side of the plane, not the exit, they got to go way down and come back.
A big U.
Yeah, a big U. Because so you say, now you see, they saw the river, so you say, stand up and close on the door, so they just as tight as they can. And I'd say, I want this plane emptied in, 2 minutes or something like that, which was impossible. And they'd close up, be right on your back. And the guy's name was Kelly, who was my pilot, or the pilot of the plane. Now, flak started to get a little heavier. and more, I think it was more ground fire than it was flak, because I think flak was up too high, I don't know, but it looked like we were starting to take some, so got out and give me that thing. I said, come on, Kelly, get me down there and let me walk in there anyway. Give me a shot. He said,
Do you know if the plane made it out?
yeah, oh yeah, yeah, I met him, oh yeah. So he said, he kept saying, Jonesy, you're a worrywart. Shut up and get back there. I'll take care of you. And
So you were the last man out the door, right?
I had to get him out.
Right.
I had to see that everybody got out, so I'm the last guy, and I figured we're going across the channel. And I don't want to jump in the channel because with this stuff on, I ain't going to make it. He just laughed, and they closed up and stand, and they knew what they were doing.
When you're in the door,
Yeah.
looking down, and you're about ready to jump, you're in one of the first planes, so this is the first that Americans are going in.
No, we had Pathfinders in there.
Okay, but you don't know what to expect when you're going to get on the ground in terms of German troops and so forth?
Well, that was pretty well documented. I mean, they took pictures, and they had everything that you wanted, and before we went, they were there. You could go and look it over, and you knew we knew what our objective was. My platoon, I knew what the objective was.
What was your objective?
There were two, I guess you would call them anti-aircraft guns. I thought they were machine guns, but they said they were anti-aircraft guns, and they're tough. I mean, the C-47s don't go too fast, and you got, the pilots were great. They'd slow you, because the faster they're going, the more that propeller's going, the greater the shock. You get out, man, it hits like that, and now if he can cut that engine a little bit, and they gave us every detail. You go over, you see the beach. Now you know you're 3 minutes off your jump. Stand up and hook up, close up and stand in the door, sound off for a Christmas check, number 8 and 18, okay, and so on. Or close up and stand in the door, come on, get up there. And the crew chief, what's he say? Get on here, get that pilot on here.
Now, how long did it take you to get to your objective? And did you take your objective?
When you say, did you take your objective?
You said these two anti-aircraft weapons were your objective.
Well, you don't know who got them, really.
Okay.
I mean, we had hand grenades, and we threw hand grenades, and somebody else was, and you coordinated, and it was the best mixed match that I ever saw, because we had guys, I never knew those guys, where are you from or so on, and it was a daring exploit, I'll tell you that, for the American Army.
You got them both, though? Both of those guns, the anti-aircraft guns, you got them both?
Somebody got them
Right.
in our, yeah, we got the aircraft guns.
Take any casualties that night?
Yeah, yeah, and they took a lot of them.
Yep. Yep.
And they finally.
I mean, your platoon.
Oh yeah, two.
Yep.
Two.
Okay.
But and we could see their trucks going back. They were retreating, going back, and right down the road. And it was a beautiful moonlight night. Beautiful night. You could see the tracers. It was very, But I was disappointed. I wasn't disappointed. I was happy. But the resistance wasn't what I had anticipated.
More or less?
Less. It was much less. Because when we got when they gave us the photos and stuff of there was a machine gun nest here, and there was an anti-aircraft gun here, and there was a line of soldiers here, this is where this was. Now, in the confusion, we were confused, but they were more confused than we were, because they started running around. Some of them didn't know where they were going, I guess. And
did you take any prisoners at all?
prisoners I didn't want.
Okay.
I didn't want to go to the back. But frisk them and stuff. So go to the back, you make one mistake, they're going right through your head. You understand that? I had a guy that could speak fluent German as my assistant. I had two of them. Tell him, if he makes one mistake, if his shoes get dirty, all right, he's dead. And the guy, the comrade, all right, take him to the back.
The combat ended for you on D+5 when you got hit. Between the landing and D+5, what were do you remember any of your objectives or your missions?
We accomplished it, yeah, we got the infantry walked right off the things and never had a casualty.
How long was it before the infantry from the beach met your unit?
A matter of 12, 13 hours or something in that vicinity. I wasn't keeping time, but I know that the carriers, I'd have my platoon leader, I had an assistant platoon leader, and I'd say, find out what you can, because it's mass confusion. I don't know who's on the right of me.
Now, did you have a radio with you?
I had a radio operator, but you got to be careful with that because everybody's on the radio. Where are you? What's your position? What's the situation? So I'd rather have. I had an assistant.
So you had runners?
That's what I had. I had a guy there, and I didn't have to write it down. Say, tell him here's where we are. Here's what we're doing. We're getting low on ammunition. Get something up here, and we need some relief or something. And he'd go back by the beaches, and he was a pretty good salesman in civil life because we get stuff when the rest of them didn't.
What were the clickers?
Yeah, well, that was a signal. It was, it was kind of a psychological effect. I got mine, I guess.
What was the code?
5. I thought I brought mine, but maybe I didn't. I still had mine. Yeah, I thought I brought.
Do you still have your jump knife too?
No, they wouldn't. No, I didn't have my jumpsuit or my boots. No, I got hurt. I have shrapnel in my diaphragm now, and I can cough and bleed right up for you in a minute if you want me to.
Did you do a lot of hedgerow fighting for the 5 days?
Bet your life.
What was it like to fight in the hedgerows?
It's murder.
Were you? Do you think you were trained to?
We were trained.
Fight them?
Psychologically, we were the best troops in the world. There was nobody. You were a paratrooper. I got paid $100 a month more than any other buddy. I had all the training that they could give you.
Do you think fighting the hedgerows was more difficult than you anticipated, or
no?
No.
You were prepared, really, psychologically. That was the best thing. You were prepared no matter what happened. You'd see in my platoon, the assistant platoon leader for the platoon got shot right through the head, right through the helmet, dead right there. That affects you, don't it?
Yes.
But who was your colonel?
Robert E. Cole, Congressional Medal of Honor winner.
He was a pretty gung-ho kind of colonel?
He had no fear, no nothing. We used to say he has no fear, no nothing. He don't know nothing, He was.
He had some kind of ambitious missions for his troops?
No, he wanted to win the war, us to win the war, and we weren't going to win it backing up or sitting down in the foxholes. You're going to win it by getting to Berlin or wherever we were supposed to go. And he got killed. Congressional Medal of Honor winner.
Could you describe where and when you were wounded, how you were wounded?
I still have the shrapnel in there. It was, I don't know, the time...
D+5.
Yeah, D+5, I got hurt. The enemy came out with an all-out effort, bombers and everything. They either had to get us back in the ocean or else they were going to, it was all done for them. And they finally started surrendering in groves to it. So after we got in and got past the first stages of it and into the second stage of our advance, then we started to see, I wouldn't call them deserters, but guys, they were going to get killed if they didn't, because it was take no prisoners, do nothing,
Now Carantan, which is on the map here, probably 4 or 5 miles in, and it's right on there's a canal that leads out to it.
Yeah. Right over here, there's this college.
College, yeah. You were trying to take Carrington when you got hit?
We were attempting to, if you will, the beaches were backing up. There were soldiers. Nobody knew what was going. It's mass. You're supposed to be there, and that wasn't the way we were trained. And so, get a meeting of the officers and say, look, what the hell are you doing here? We know what we're supposed to be. You're way over there. Get back where you belong. And then you'd see the German trucks go, the loads of guys, and it was chaos. And they didn't know they were as bad off. Worse
Why
off.
was Carrington important, Dad?
Well, there was a beach, a beautiful beach there. The 1st Infantry walked right up there like it was, you know.
And do you remember how you got hit?
Oh yeah, I remember how I got
What
hit.
happened?
Well, we got by the college over there. There was a college, and we went. There was a wooded area, and I was concerned with my platoon that they would have air bursts if they had and man, in the woods. Now it isn't so bad if they're not hitting those trees and stuff and busting, but you're in there trying to duck. So I didn't want to get too far in there, and so we used and I had a guy that was my scout, and he blindfolded. He could take me any place I wanted to go, and he'd come back. I'd say, how am we doing? You're okay, but keep him over here. And then I got him didn't get him the Congressional Medal, but I got him a good medal. He got killed.
Did you get attacks by the Messerschmitts? Is that what was coming over?
Not so much,
Yeah.
no, not so much. We didn't see much air. We did see bombardment by apparently, I don't know what size ships they were over there, but anyway, they did that for a while. And they threw everything they had, I guess, and took off.
How'd you get hit? From gunfire or from airplane fire or
Bombs.
bombs?
Yeah.
What happened?
Well, we were at the college, near the college they had, and it was beautiful there, and there was hedgerows and everything. And one of my scouts got hurt, and he came back and he said, Lieutenant, there's something back over in there, and these guys have got a bead on us. They know right where we are. So I said, all right, let's see what we can do. So I went back and got the guy on the radio and said, get me some air support, or get me some guns on the plane or the Navy, because they're in there. And so they bombarded the place and raised heck with it. And that's where we had the guy.
Where were you? Were you trying to take Carantan or take a bridge? Or?
No, we're trying to expand the beach and let the guys. And finally, really, it was. Finally, the guys would get off those LSTs, they'd drop the front and they'd get off and they'd walk right up.
Do you remember getting hit?
Oh, yeah.
What happened after you got hit?
Well, I had an orderly. I was an officer. I had an orderly, nice guy. And he told me, he said, they had a mound like this, and there was a college across, and there was fire coming from that. They were firing at us, and I said, we got to get up and see where it is. He said, all right, well, I went too far, and the Luftwaffe came over and bombed the heck out of us, and I caught one of the pieces.
Shrapnel?
Still there, yeah, it's still in there.
Where'd you get? The back?
Yeah, right back here, laying down, and I
What
lost.
happened?
Well, I lost 2 good men there, were killed. Both of them were killed, and I got hurt.
How'd they get you to safety?
The guy that dragged me around there deserved. I got him a medal. He dragged me out of there at the risk of his own life. And then once you got back to the hedgerow a little bit, and then man, get up here.
Was there an aid station nearby?
Oh yeah, there were a lot of guys. What do you call them?
Medics.
Medics, I guess, and they risked their life. They had no gun or nothing.
Were you able to breathe with the whole?
Well, yeah, but it made a very peculiar sound. It made, the blood is rushing out, and then and then that's where Kelly got up.
Now you spent the night in the aid station, did you?
Oh yeah, I spent more than the night, and then the next day probably by 1 o'clock or something, they had a ship, and it took us into a hangar.
How were you taken to the beachhead?
To the beachhead?
Isn't that where you would have put on a hospital ship?
Yeah.
How did you get to the beach?
Oh, the medics. Medics come there.
Did they have a jeep, or were you carrying
No, there
stretcher?
were no jeeps there. No, they were carrying 4 of them, trying to carry, and that's hard. You get in on those like gurneys there, and
Now when you got to the beach, they were they got to take your clothes, and they gave you some morphine. What happened?
Well, I had from World War I. My uncle was a sergeant in World War I, and he brought back, I still have it, a collection of buttons and things off as he'd go along, German, American, make it there was, and I have it. They had in World War I what they call a brown belt that went around here, and a dress belt. and he had foresight enough. He grabbed these things. You see, like this, he'd grab one, put it aside, grab another, and he had all kinds of it. Now, I was his favorite nephew, so when he got real sick and was he going to die and stuff, he gave me. I still have it, and so I was collecting them too. And but anyway.
And you have them in your pants when you're on the beach?
And I had two hand grenades, and they had the LSTs, the landing crash tank, and that could run right up, almost on dry land, and they let that thing down. The nurses were there, and the doctors were there. This one goes here, this one goes there. Give them a blood transfusion or what. So the nurses were real nice, and she said to me, Lieutenant, have you got anything that you wanted to keep? Now, before we went in, they gave us a nylon map. Beautiful map. Because if you had this kind, they get wet, they're no good to you. So the officers had a nylon map, and it was beautiful. So I had taken it, and I had picked up some of these things that I was going to take back and tied a knot in it. And your paratroopers, your pants were cut this way, not this way.
Right.
See? So now they got me by the beach, and I'm half, I guess I got half of the thing going, and the nurse comes, she said, oh, Lieutenant, you're going to be fine. I got a blood running. And I said, okay, good. She said, you got anything you want? I said, yeah, right in this pocket here. I said, and see, paratroopers, they're cut this way. They're not cut this way. And I said, in there, I said, there's a handkerchief like, and I said, it's got some stuff I'd like to get. She said, no problem, I'll get it for you. Oh, I had 2 hand grenades in there. Now, she's in there, and she's saying, well, I'm saying, oh, gee. I'm trying to tell her. She pulls a pin on that. You know, it's goodbye, Daddy. And she's, well, where are they?
Pulled out the pin of the hand
I'm saying, no, don't. I never did get it.
You had the pins bent over, though, did you?
Yeah.
So she would have had to...
Well, I know, but I wasn't trusting it. So,
when they got you back to England, you had to make a decision about surgery.
well, yeah, the doctor that came in, they rushed you in there and they gave you, transfusions and stuff. I was an officer. I had a private room, big deal. So the guy comes in, the doctor comes in. He says, let's see, they got the x-rays and stuff. He said, you got a pretty fair sized piece of shrapnel in there. He said, we're going to give you 3 or 4 days and we're going to take that right out, okay? So the nurse is in there. He goes out. So she said, would you mind if I had a friend of mine come in and talk to you? No. So the guy came in, he was a doctor. He said, I understand they're going to operate on you and take that out. That's what they said. He said, don't tell them I said so, it was mine, I wouldn't let them touch me. I just say no, I want to leave it there. What dilemma. He said, you have that right. You tell them, and they'll bring in and say, so, okay, sign this. I said, okay, sign all your rights, that's fine. He said, you've already had, they've gone through your ribs. They'll go through the other side, a rib resection. They don't guarantee they'll take it either when they get in there, where it's located. Why don't you let it ride? It's always there. When you want to, you can go to the VA or you can go to the back of the Army hospital and have them take it out. No problem. But I don't think you're physically fit now either. You've just been through the shock. And I said, what'll he say? He said, I don't care what he says. You just tell him, no way. So he was a major. He came in, well, tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. I said, oh, hold up. What do you mean? I said, you're not going to operate on me, Major. He said, what? I'm the doctor. I said, yeah, and I'm the patient. And he said, what's it? So I had to sign the thing. Relieve the government, the federal government, I don't care, of all responsibility. Wouldn't be no good.
You still have a piece of shrapnel there today?
Oh, yeah, it's still there.
Next to your heart?
Well,
Maybe the aorta?
yeah. Every once in a while I have a hemorrhage, but not often. I think it's been months since I had one. If I sneeze, the expands and pushes it up there. It's not very big.
You're a commander at a prison camp after you get out of the hospital?
Yeah.
In England?
Yeah.
With German soldiers?
Yeah.
Now, how long were you recuperating from this wound?
They gave me out of the hospital. Now, from this type of wound, it don't take you long to recuperate. I mean, you've all had the transfusions. Psychologically, you've been examined whether you're still, and they give you calisthenics, or they give you some kind of treatment to walk and then to do exercises, and then they leave it up to you. The two doctors come in and say, how do you feel? Great. What do you want to do? Well, go back. Well, no, you can't. I'm not going to sign you to go back to a paratrooper. I don't think you should jump again at this time. What could I do? Well, I go back to the infantry. That's right, my home. But I can train soldiers. I can show them what I did wrong or what not to do. And I'm an asset. I'm not a liability anymore. No problem. So they did. And we were right next to a college there. We had lived like a king. The dorms.
Where were you in England? Do you remember?
Oh, geez, yeah. You name it. Almost.
Okay.
And they, for I assume secrecy, they transferred us around like we were cake at a wedding. They gave us, and the only thing we wanted to jump on, you could tell, we jumped for Eisenhower, and we jumped for Churchill, and we jumped for anybody that they wanted us to. And we got $100 a month as an officer, extra pay.
Now, you ended up with the POW camp as a commander of the POW camp?
I did. Not long, but I did. Yeah, I did, and then I wanted to transfer. I wanted no part of that.
Why not?
I was prejudiced. I was prejudiced. I really was. I lost some. Skip that way.
Okay. So after you left the camp, where did you go?
Well, then I got several assignments. I got assignments for indoctrination for troops that were just coming in. I got assignments out of the general headquarters for information, suggestions, not by the general himself, but by his aides. What did you think of this, and what do you think of that? And I wasn't the only one. There were three of us, and we would sometimes we didn't agree, but we would come to a consensus. And what was the best way to do it? Was it the best way? The invasion by sea was not the paratroopers were the best way. We were scattered all over, and they didn't know where the hell we were or what we were doing, and we were pretty tough troops, I'll tell you that. You were ironclad when you came out of that training. You could run 3 miles and not hardly breathe.
It sounds like you were like an advisor. Were you connected with the Operation Market Garden at all?
No. Just mostly what I was with small unit. There'd be a K company like this company here, and they had the platoons, and they're new. They're just getting off the boats and so on. So they'd have a meeting of the officers, and they'd have like 2 or 3 of us, and saying, "Look, here's what we found. Keep out of the wooded areas because they're bombarding, and you're going to have casualties. Or try to circumvent them." And
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Did you have much contact with the English people?
Oh, before did I? Gee, I guess so. I was with the royalty there for a while after I got back. When I got back over there, I still have friends over there. Yeah, they were great. They were great. These people to us.
After you were discharged, they liked you so much they invited you back for Korea.
Yeah, right.
And you were happy. You were happy about that.
Oh yeah, I wrote to my congressman.
Now, when did you come back to the States?
Oh boy, now we're getting dates. Geez, I don't know.
Were you in England for the end of the war? Do you recall?
No, I was called back. They had me for Korea, I guess. They were going to get some of us. They wanted to retrain or something. Instead of that, they put me in charge of a prisoner of war camp.
Okay. When you came back to the States, were you discharged right away?
Oh no. No, you went through a process, which was great. They went through psychologically was the big thing. They had psychiatrists, and how do you feel, and how do you feel about the war, and I lost a brother, and I'm bitter. A lot smarter than I was, and younger, and shouldn't have been called.
Now, was he in the European or Pacific?
No, he
theater?
was in the Pacific theater. His plane, he was in the pilot. His plane got shot down. He shouldn't have been there.
How old was he?
6 years younger than me. He was.
He was 18 when you came.
Yeah, I'm the sole surviving. there's 2 boys in the family. I'm gone. And now they put him in, and I called my congressman, and, you know, well, we'll see what we can do. The next thing you know, my mother gets the telegram. You know.
Now, when you returned home, you were called back up for Korea.
Yeah.
Were you sent overseas for Korea,
No,
or
no.
did you stay in this?
And that, I've got a break there in a sense. The units that I was sent to, the colonel, he was a lieutenant colonel, and he was one that understood what the ground troops go through. He wasn't, you know, my son or my brother was a flyby. He was a big deal, but he got lost too. But we didn't have much time to go to the mess hall, and we didn't have much time to do these other things. And he was 100% for anything you could get for the GI, the guy on the ground, the guy that was going to do the fighting, as he said. And it gets to you after you start losing men in your platoon. Starts to get to you. Say, where's Harris? You know, or Harris so-and-so. I don't know. But anyway, it was, and with all difference to everybody, they were tough. You weren't, we got up against a unit that had been in Africa. And they knew every trick of the trade, and they knew but fortunately we had air superiority. And I called for it every chance I got. Sent over a couple of them guys, and, you know, and I got hurt, and man, they took great care of me. Gee, the guys risked their life to go to get me, pull me back, put a plug in where the wound where I was bleeding so bad, transfusion, and back to the beach, and then back in an LST, and then back in an airplane, back to a hospital, doctors coming in, you know, and nurses, and reassuring you, you're all right. You got a piece of shrapnel or diaphragm, and one doctor wanted to take it out.
Yeah. Now, you said you left service in '52. What was your rank when you left?
First lieutenant.
Okay. Did you ever make use of the GI Bill? Do you recall?
I don't know that I ever did. No, I had a business.
Okay.
It was prosperous, and I had to, my wife was taking care of it.
Now, when were you married? You were married before you went into service?
47, yeah. No, after.
Oh, okay.
After.
Between the 2 wars.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you ever make use of the 52-20 club?
No.
Didn't use that. I noticed you joined veterans organizations.
I'm 100% for any of them.
What organizations did you join?
Well, I've joined the Veterans of Foreign Wars, the Legion, the ones that are, what the heck am I trying to say? I belong to all of them.
Did you ever keep in contact with anyone that served with you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I have a guy that comes back. He got hurt after I did, and he's been over here to see me. Unfortunately, now his wife died with cancer, and he was, yeah. But he came and visited, and I've had several meetings where.
Have you joined, gone to any reunions?
2, but it's a different, see, because I suppose it sounds self-serving, but the group that I was with, most of them either got hit or dead or are not interested or incapacitated or what. I am one of the fortunate ones, really. I got shrapnel in my back.
We went to the 50th reunion in 1994.
We had one down here too one time. We came up here, a bunch of us.
Yeah. You received the Bronze Star
Yeah,
and the Purple Heart,
yeah,
among other unit citations.
yeah.
Lee Coleman wrote a story about you about 10 years ago in which he quoted you as saying that we can say we won the war, that the victory was ours, but we paid a terrible price. The real cost of war was human suffering and sacrifice. Jones said his prayer is always for no more wars, for everlasting peace. This was the war that was supposed to end all wars, but that didn't happen.
No, but there's a screaming eagle right there. See that little
Yeah.
baby there? We got $100 a month jump pay, whether we earned it or not, extra.
How do you think your time in military service changed or affected your life?
Oh, it changed your whole psychology. War is not an answer to anything. I don't care which side it never, you know, they hate us, we hate them. They're jealous because we have such a prosperous and they don't. And I don't know what the solution is. I'm not about to do. I was mayor here in the city and never raised taxes in 10 years. Never was done before. Take a look at it. But I had a business that we worked the almost infinitesimal in the amount of profit you made. And so you learn how to do those things, how to balance budgets and how to do those things. And that's what I tried, you know, we applied to. The American soldier was the best. The English, I sometimes really sympathized with them. They didn't have, I didn't think, as good equipment. I didn't think their chutes. I jumped a couple of them, but I would finally said to the guy, "I'll jump out with that one. I ain't gonna jump out one of them again."
We
But
only have about 3 minutes left. Do you have any questions, Ryan?
No, we got
Or
that.
we've got about 10. Lee, do you have any questions?
I have one.
Oh, go ahead, Ryan.
What happened to your platoon after you were hurt?
well, there were lots of casualties. I didn't know the number, but you were in scattered hospitals all over England. Like, I mean, I had a chest injury. I went to one hospital, it was really practically all chest. Somebody else might have had a head injury. There was another one. And several of the people we've come back together after all these years. I've had several meetings with some of them, and we refight the war again.
Lee, do you have any questions?
I don't know, Mayor, just looking back to your time in office, I mean, you had a wonderful, 10 years as mayor.
Yes, I had.
I'm looking at the story I wrote back at that time. Construction of the city center, stabilized property taxes.
Never raised taxes in 10 years. Take a look.
Yeah, this is it. Attracted new industry, ball metal container
Yeah.
division,
Yeah, I was instrumental in that.
quad graphics printing plant.
Yeah.
So this was a turnaround I see in the city of Saratoga Springs from the 70s, 60s, and 70s when the city was in a downturn. When Mayor Jones was there, it turned it around. He did, he and others in the city council, your colleague Thomas McTighe.
All right, Tommy, my good
Who
friend.
said you
We
were the
argue a
best-
lot, but we're good friends.
Yeah, he said you're the best mayor ever served under.
Oh,
so.
boy, well,
Mayor, what do you think of today's, this is just for my editor, the things that are going on today, the Iraqi war, some of these, the present day things?
well, of course, it goes against my philosophy. War is no solution for anything. It's just I say it's just a brief respite between wars. And peace. That's all it is now. And some way we've got to find out a way to be able to sit down at a conference table and express our positions and then come to and I was in business and that's what you had to do. I couldn't have my way every time. I had salesmen, the guy say, "No, I can't call on that guy because he, okay, let's see what we can do about it." Try to live your life and be as generous as you can. And this is this city's beautiful. Look, I've been the world over, and the people are friendly, and we have so much, and we have to be careful that we don't get too soft.
How about the Iraqi war? How about, with the things that are going on now, the war on terror, what do you,
War, I can't condone it. They know what the situation is and what our liabilities are and what could happen. I don't. But I just hate to see these young guys having to go to war and ring the bell on the telegram.
Okay. Peace is just a brief respite between wars, is the way.
Yeah, what fools me mortals be. I mean, really, I was in business, and if I went to sell you something and I couldn't, I had to try to get your friendship done.
Right.
That's the way I tried to. I said, "What a good fellow you are." And we seem to believe that might is and it isn't. And you lose good men and women, and I don't know. I'm fortunate. I got a piece of shrapnel in my diaphragm now. I can sneeze and start bleeding. So what?
Yeah.
But I lost a brother. My brother's plane went down. Never found him.
Yeah.
Okay,
well, thank you very much for your interview.
well,
Good interview.
Thank you.
the check will be in the mail.